Somebody made a comment yesterday about blades brown, that they really wanted to see me diagnose his swing, and quite honestly, I never heard of blades brown before. I live under a rock, and some of you might think I might live and die golf, but when I'm not doing this, I want nothing to do with golf. I prefer to watch something else, so you guys are my news, so appreciate that. A couple of impressive things in his resume. In 2023, shot a record-tying 64 at the U.S. Amateur at Cherry Hills Country Club. I've played Cherry Hills. It's not a joke, and to be able to go that low under those conditions at that young, it's pretty impressive. Not only that, but during a qualifying round of Franklin Bridge Golf Club, he shot a 62. So clearly this guy is just pure talent rolled up in a ball. Now we take a look at some of his statistics. He's middle of the pack for fairways in regulation at 65%, greens in regulation a hair over 71. But let's take a look today and see what he does. And he does something very unique in his driver swing and his iron swing, and they almost work opposite of what you would think. But let's break it down more, and thanks for the suggestion. Okay, we got our mellow yellow lines for the lower plane, upper plane line. That little Ivan red shows his back brace line, and Gumby green shows you the spine angle. Now let's get Barney purple up there and take a look from arches of the heels on both of these. That's the wrong tool. Let's try that again. We can't one take Drake this today, but close enough. Two take Drake. We see that his centeredness is somewhat in the middle between the two arches. Now, no, this camera angle is not directly down the foot line. I prefer foot line. This is more ball line. Now, ball line does throw off some of the plane lines, but we're experienced here. We can make things work. So we know that he is fairly centered, and that is very important because the golf swing will, for him, revolve around this connection point. And it's all about balancing the upper, the lower, the front, and back from that center point. And while we have a club over here that's going to pick up significant weight as he turns and tilts, so it's all dependent on how he keeps things relative. And this is great about the golf swing, that there's no two swings that look alike. There's no two swings in history that have been the same. That's why methods are just fads to sell you hopes and dreams that most of us can't reach. Now, we do see from this point of view, we have a slight separation between the club head and the hands, but again, this is the camera angle. If you were to take it down the foot line, you would probably see they are spot on. We see some shoulder tilt loss, just like we saw in yesterday's video, but he will recover pretty well from this point on. When we get to the top of the swing here, we can see that that shoulder tilt has now leveled out pretty good in terms of his tilt and turn relationship. So he does a really good job of leveling things out. As a result, we see those hands will get to that secondary plane line, and this is where you would think he would stop, but he has an extra motion from this point to the top of his swing. We see the upper body turns even more, so watch the lower body. It is restricting while the upper body is turning more, and we're also doing a great job of not increasing tilt, not losing tilt. So this is storing up some elasticity. We have some nice X factor stretch, which again, for most of us, if I did this, I'd be popping knees or popping hips, but he can do it pretty well. And the great thing about this too is I can't find a face on, but we know that we don't have an exaggerated wrist hinge a la Steve Stricker yesterday. If you didn't see that video, it's up there right now. Here's where things get a little unique. Now we're going to see a immediate dive down, so the whole body will dive down, specifically the upper body. So we're taking a spine angle and we're digging it down a little bit. Now this will cause some things to occur. Number one is we will steepen our plane out because things are relative at that point. If he were to remain in his initial posture, that club would probably be here, but this is where things have to evolve from there. Watch the right shoulder from here. The right shoulder will start to tilt. So you see that tilting action going on, and that tilting action will bring the club from a steeper motion to a, I hate this word, shallower motion, and you can see it happening in real time. Not really real time, but now in order to do this, he needs some room. So if we clear a couple of these lines here, we need some room between our hips and our arms. So one way to do that is to get that butt against that back brace line, which he does fantastically. So now we're going to see a little bit of a jump up into it. So we've gone down, now we jump back up. As we strike it, watch the right leg. The right leg will extend outward, and all this is doing is getting that weighting, getting all those forces involved at impact, but also to engage the turn so his hands are out in front of his chest. We don't really see flipping at this point because things are keeping up with each other, but I want you to take a look at this because this is a pretty important line. Right when we strike that golf ball, we're going to draw his spine angle at this point. So we see it has just come up ever so slightly. Look at the trail forearm as he strikes it. If we draw a straight line to here, we can see that it has come up and found its rotation point. The faster you rotate, the more things work up and away, because that's just the forces pulling things out, specifically when they have a heavy object noted here as the club. Now you'll notice that this is pretty close to 90 degrees, so this is a great utilization around this center point, keeping things balanced between lower, upper, front, and back while we rotate. Yes, he does have some little idiosyncrasies, that's a huge word. He does have some compensations, but they balance out perfectly. So no, this is not a perfect swing, but is it perfect for him? Hell yeah. Now let's quickly look at the difference between this and an iron swing. Okay, so I've drawn the same line, so you don't have to watch me redraw that. Let's go to the top of the swing, and we see the same similar motions. We see that shoulder tilt level out soon, but then it recovers, and the hands go slightly past the secondary plane line with the same sort of motion. But remember, one the left side will go down, this one actually stays level and moves slightly up, which is kind of contrary to what you would think, because we need to strike down with an iron but up with the driver. But it's all about keeping that low point relative and not engaging as much tilt as we should with a driver, because it's not on the tee with an iron. So let's see this motion. We see the first move. Look how much more down we're going on the left side, leveling out. As we strike that golf ball, we notice there's not a lot of turn with the iron as opposed to the driver. But again, it's center point control. And if you have more turn, you might have some contact issues. But the key, let's back it up to that impact position. Let's go ahead and again, first draw the new spine angle line in Barney Purple, and then we're also going to draw the forearm through that. So here we have pretty close to 90, and this one we're going to see a little bit different. It's going to be greater than 90, so the spine angle moves up more, which then requires the hands to move down more. A, because they need to balance that move out, and B, because guess what this is? It's an iron we have to strike down, and we know this is happening as well in the follow through. So look how the forearm on the left side in red matches these upper plane line, where the forearm on the right side in red will be lower than that plane line, so the hands will be working lower because the body moves up. Now granted, all these things are different for every individual, which is why methods just don't exist. Don't bother watching methods. Work with your own swing, work with your own foundation, your own limitations, your own strengths. Build your game around your weaknesses and your misses, because that is how you get to be better. And short game, short game, short game. So I hope that helps you. If you have another recommendation, let me know down below, and I'll see you next time. Fairways and greens. A huge thank you to these incredible supporters on the screen and to you watching this video. Your support helps us bring our golf curriculum to low-income children around the world at no cost to them, just like our location in Cape Flat, South Africa, in partnership with the Hillard program. Please like, share, and consider subscribing. Together, we can give the gift of golf to kids who need it the most.